So we're continuing to add and subtract fractions. I have one that I wanted to do with you. I have 2 over 6x minus 8 over 4x squared. So what I want to do when I add and subtract fractions is I want to find a least common denominator. So I have two numbers at the bottom, 6 and 4. What can 6 and 4 both multiply to be? Well, what's the least common multiple of 6 and 4? They can both multiply to be 12. So what I would have to do is I would have to multiply the first fraction by 2 to make that 6 into a 12. And I would have to multiply the second fraction by a 3 at the bottom so that 4 can change into a 12. But now what am I going to do with the variables? Well, on the second fraction, I have an x squared in the denominator. I can keep that. And on the first fraction, I have an x in the denominator. So to make that x into an x squared, I need to multiply the top and bottom by x. So the denominator for both of the fractions should be 12x squared. Now for the first fraction, I know I need to multiply by 2x at the bottom. So that means I need to multiply by 2x at the top. So this 2 is going to become a 4x. For the second fraction, I know that to get to 4x squared to 12x squared, I need to multiply by 3. So we're going to multiply by 3 at the top as well. 8 times 3 is going to give me 24. So now I've got 4x and a 24 at the top. I have a common denominator, so that means I can write this all as one fraction with 4x minus 24 on top and 12x squared in the denominator. When I get to the end, I take one last look to make sure I can factor anything else. I notice that 4x minus 24, both of those terms have a 4 in common, so that means I can take out a 4 from the top. So when I divide 4x by 4, you're going to have an x. And when I divide 24 by 4, you should have a 6. So I'm going to have 4 times x minus 6 at the top and a 12x squared at the bottom. So now what can cancel out? What can we cancel out on the top and the bottom? Well, I have a 4 and a 12. If I divide the top by 4, then the 4 is going to change into a 1. If I divide the bottom by 4, that 12 is going to change into a 3. So my final answer at the end is going to be 1 times x minus 6 at the top. That's just going to be x minus 6 since I'm multiplying everything by 1. And at the bottom, I'm going to have a 3 and an x squared. And now I know that I'm done because there's nothing left that I can factor or simplify.